This class is concerned with organizational structure. Now, organizational structure should suit the range and variety of tasks. If it doesn't, then it's of the wrong format and it will need to be changed. The organizational structure should suit the range of tasks that are undertaken by the business. There are different possible forms of organizational structure. Generally, businesses group staff and tasks into functions and then the functions into divisions. So, for example, we would have staff grouped in finance. We'd have staff grouped in administration. And they may come under the heading of administration itself. You may have the engineering section, the production section, and the stores section, and even distribution, and they may come under production. So we have different functions feeding into divisions. In other words, that's a possibility, that staff are grouped according to what they do. If we look at this pictorially, we would see it as what would be a good organizational design? Well, minimal bureaucracy, that's important. Low cost administration, so the cost of running the business must be kept down. An efficient production and process design, efficient innovation, to make sure that the products are contemporary and that the customers are pleased with their purchases and their needs are being met. And low-cost production leads to market advantage because perhaps prices are able to be kept under control whilst at the same time given a good return on capital and a good profit level overall at the end of the year. But low-cost production is a market advantage. And out of low-cost administration and efficient production we get competitive advantage. We get innovative reputation and a high rate of return on the investment. So the structure of the business is important. The structure of the business enables it to generate these advantages. Competitive advantage to ensure that there is an active research and development activity which keeps the product up to date and keeps it in the mind of the consumer, and also generates a high rate of return on the investment. Now what I'm going to look at is implementing a strategy in a single industry. First of all, we could have low-cost leadership approach. This reduces costs across all functions and generates a more competitive business. So it could be that the orientation in implementing the strategy is to keep costs under control and thereby lead the market. So the strategy could be aimed at controlling costs right across the organization, the administration and the production, the distribution and so on. Just controlling costs and thereby getting a leadership position in the market because it's a low-cost company. It's able to perhaps charge less for the product and gain market advantage. It could also have a strategy of product differentiation. The business structure designed to reflect the sources of distinctive competency and differentiated product. Product differentiation is important. The customers want newness, they want new and innovative products. And companies that are able to satisfy that demand are portraying distinct competency. They're showing that they are skillful producers. They are forward-thinking and skillful producers, and thereby it enhances their reputation in the marketplace. Implementing a broad product line, the product structure. Well, in order to implement the broad product line, this product structure, group the overall product line into product groups. Now, if the company is producing more than one product, try and group them, get similar products together into broad overall groups. It depends, of course, on the nature of the business. Maybe the business is only producing one item, in which case this is irrelevant. But if it's producing many items, try and group the items so that there are less overall groups to manage. There are, if you like, aggregate groups, groups which contain the individual items. And these product groups can be more easily managed. Centralize the support chain functions to lower costs, if that's possible. Finance, for example, is a central function. Marketing is a central function. The HR department is a central function. Research and development could be centralized. And in this way, costs are kept under control. If these were devolved down to individual departments making individual products, there may be duplication or replication of efforts, and that would be wasteful. Divide support functions into product-orientated teams. These should be composed of functional specialists who focus on the needs of one specific product group. So now we've got the idea of product groups, individual products being grouped together, as I said earlier, and it may be possible to develop teams who have specialist expertise in the production of those product groups. But since the groups are similar, made up from similar products, I should say, the teams can be more effectively used. So it's possible to start considering production along team levels and with team participation. So the formation of teams to deal with product groups may help to reduce costs even further. A lot of this really depends on the nature of the business, and it depends critically on the types of products being produced and the product groups that can be formed, if any indeed can be formed. But if they can, then moving down this road of developing teams to look after them, that may be a cost-saving direction to move. Increasing responsiveness to customer groups and the market structure. Well, group people and functions by customer or market segments. So workers may be grouped according to customers, according to customer needs. So certain products will be aimed at certain customers, which means that the workers will be grouped according to the customer's needs. And certain groups will be aimed at not just customers, but the market segments that those customers represent, and therefore there is a greater opportunity to make cost savings because it's a much more confined system of production. In other words, the product is aimed at a particular sector or segment. The marketing people know what the segment requires, so that production can be focused on that requirement, and the workers working to make the product that satisfies the segment will have greater information and less uncertainty about what is required of them. Different managers are responsible for developing products for each group of customers. That is, depending on the size of the business, that is generally the case. That managers look to the customer groupings, or if you like, the market segments, and managers are allocated according to the segments, so they become expert in the requirements of that segment, and they are able to better meet the needs of the segment. It's possible to expand nationally the geographic structure to be responsive to the needs of regional customers. Excuse me. Regional customers vary. The requirements in one part of the country may be different to another for all sorts of reasons. History, culture, climate, all sorts of reasons can make the customers different. But also there is an effort to reduce transport costs, and that has to be borne in mind as well. Not only should the business be looking to expand geographically, but it should also be looking to reduce transport costs, which may militate against the objective of expanding. But establishing warehousing in different parts of the country may be the answer. It depends critically on whether the whole exercise makes sense in a commercial way. If the extra sales and the extra revenues generated in different parts of the country are sufficient to pay for the warehousing and extra distribution costs, then it sounds like a good idea. This class has looked at implementing strategy in a single industry. The class is complex because it's difficult to say what type of industry it is and what type of product being made. The general principles that we've tried to bring out in the class are that when several products are being made, it may be possible to group the products. Once the products are grouped, then teams of workers may work on that product group and build up an expertise in the production of that product group. Individual managers may be allocated to look after the product group, and it may be that the managers will build up an expertise in the market segment, and the markets may be viewed according to customers' needs. Or towards the end of the class, as I just said, it may be a geographic separation. It may be that the customers are spread around the country and the company needs some way of getting the product to them. So it's complex because companies vary so much. Some companies make a single product, some companies make a few products, some companies make many products. So it does really depend. But these are some of the broad issues that need to be considered when looking at implementing a strategy in a single industry. I'm going to leave it at that, so thank you for watching.